Hi guys, good to see you again. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping well. I'm back in the woods and it's absolutely lovely. Must have been nearly 2 months since I've been in the woodlands. The bird song's absolutely fantastic and it's just great to be back here. Not a breath of wind today. As you can see, it's really dull, overcast, quite flat. Not a lot of light coming through the canopy, but I have managed to come across a lovely gnarly oak and quite nicely backlit. It's a lovely shape to it. The branches that are coming off the main trunk must be, I don't know, 40 foot long, spreading out. He's really reaching out. He's got another gnarly oak behind him, which does sort of cut into the frame a little bit, but it's in the backdrop, so not too bad. I've had a good walk round for about 5 or 10 minutes trying to find a nice composition. I've settled here. I have got obviously one of his old branches that's on the floor, and it is just coming into the frame a bit. It's obviously a lighter coloured bark. Might have to tone that down a bit in post-process, but obviously I don't mind it being in the composition because it was obviously part of the tree at some point. But obviously new leaf, nice fresh and green. I've got the variable polarizer on and I've just saturated the colours a bit, brought the sheen off the leaves a bit, but it's saturated the colour nicely to get that nice lush green effect. Surrounded by lots of oaks. I mean, there's probably some more compositions here, so I'm right on the edge of the cover itself, on the edge of the woodland, so there is a nice bit of light coming in, but I might have to just lighten the trunk a bit in post-process. But I've got a nice silver birch on the left hand side of the frame, just finishing that side of the frame off, and obviously all the new sprouting fern that's just coming up, nice lush green. Obviously with the polarizer it's really brought the greens out in that. But yeah, might have to just crop the top of the frame off where the sky's just impeding the top of the frame, but hopefully not too much. I might be able to take the highlights out of that again. I'm on the 16 to 35, like I say, the magnetic variable polarizer on. I've taken several different settings, several different frames at different settings, f8, and I then stepped it down to f5.6, varying from about 1/3 of a second up to 0.4 of a second. So we'll see which one works best. Obviously I want, because the tree is so wide, I want a good depth, but I also want a good drop off. So we'll see which one works best and I'll pop the settings up. But yeah, it's just lovely to be back in the woods and say, not a breath of fresh air. I am a breath of fresh air, breath of wind. I am getting absolutely eaten alive by mozzies, mind. It's that time of year now, isn't it? And of course, as soon as you disturb the dead leaves and the fern, crikey, they're having their breakfast this morning. But anyway, I've got some spray in the bag. I'll get sprayed up in a minute. But while I've been stood around here, it's erupted. But anyway, yeah, really like this first frame. And I say there is some more compositions around here. There's some lovely trees about, some lovely gnarly oaks. So I'll have a good walk round and I might not go too far. But anyway, I'll pop this frame up now, guys, and I hope you like it. switched to the 70 to 200 now and spotted another composition. I've only literally moved 10 yards from the last spot, but 2 trees this time. Quite a small gnarly oak with a really twisted and a broken branch coming off, quite light colour. It's got some quite high tones to it, so I might just have to bring them tones a bit just to balance it out with the rest of the frame. But yes, I've got a gnarly oak in the foreground, and then just behind it, 10 foot behind it, a much larger gnarly oak. But I just love the shape of them. They're both shaped the same. They're just weaving their way up to the canopy, which caught my eye. Nice bit of green foliage on the smaller of the 2 oaks, and yeah, lovely shape. And then obviously the base of the frame again, I've just caught the tops of this lovely fern that's just growing up. Got the variable polarizer on there just to really saturate the colours in the frame, and yeah, it's really nice. Now what I have done, there's a bit of a breeze gathering up now, gaining, so I've knocked the ISO up to 800. Absolutely no problem with the 5D Mark IV. I could probably go to ISO 1200 before it starts affecting that, it starts getting a grainier look to it. But yes, I'm at ISO 800 just to keep the exposure time up to an 80th, because there is a little bit of movement in them leaves, and I've checked on the back of the screen. At an 80th, the leaves are lovely and sharp. So I'm at F8, 80th, ISO 800. It's quite rare that I go above 100, but it doesn't really matter. I was going to talk a bit about ISOs anyway, really. As a rule, I think we all stick to ISO 100 as much as we can. Obviously, using the tripod, you can take your exposure times down, whatever, to suit the frame, the composition that you're taking. But it really doesn't worry me, increasing the ISOs. I say I'm at ISO 800 on this, and I know the frame's going to be absolutely fine. There's going to be no noise whatsoever. So, yeah, if like on a day like today, the breeze is getting up and you're in the woodlands, or you've got your subject is moving slightly, it could be flowers or anything like that, just swaying in the wind, like the bluebells I did not long back, just knock the ISO up. And obviously the older cameras with the smaller sensors, they do struggle with high ISOs, but your newer cameras nowadays, the ISOs are fine, the high-end ISOs are fine. So yeah, ISO 800, and I know it'll be fine. So yeah, I'd highly recommend that, guys, just to play with your ISOs a bit, just to keep the shutter speed up if you need to. And I know that an 80th is freezing them leaves. There is a bit of movement in the leaves, but it's freezing them, and still giving me a nice sharp frame. So yeah, 80th of a second, f8, ISO 800, couple of lovely gnarly oaks. I'll pop the frame up now. How about that for a gnarly old oak? Obviously it's been dead a long time, but it's really glowing. Unfortunately, it's right on the edge of the woodland here. As you can see, I'm right on the edge. But wouldn't it be great if it was, we always want more. Wouldn't it be great if it was in amongst a load of pines or something and just glowing away like that? But absolutely fantastic. I have just took a step back and took a frame of it, so I'll pop it up now, guys. Well, it was thoroughly enjoyable to get back in the woodland, even if just to hear the birds song. They've been singing away to their heart's content this morning. It's been lovely. But managed a few nice frames there anyway. And I have just taken a third frame on the 70 to 200 again. Just more of a general view really, just to show you guys the sort of woodland that it is. Some nice gnarly oaks, and I think there was a silver birch in there as well. But yeah, all in all, really productive morning. So pleased that I've finally found a nice woodland with some gnarly oaks, not far from home. I'm only about half an hour from home, so yeah, brilliant. And just going back to the ISOs, yeah, obviously you've seen the images now, but I'm fairly confident that there won't be any grain in them at ISO 800. It's always handy to increase the ISO just to get that shutter speed if you need a slightly faster one, if the leaves are slightly blowing in the breeze or whatever. Yeah, don't be afraid to put the ISO up. So yeah, job's a good one. Thanks ever so much for watching, guys. If you could remember to give the video a like, that'd be much appreciated. Crikey, it's gone bright now. Let me just turn that down a bit. It's gone bright now, just walking out the canopy. But yeah, if you could give the video a like, that'd be much appreciated. Just lets YouTube algorithm know that you enjoy the content on the channel, and do consider subscribing if you haven't yet, to see more of the same content. And yeah, job's a good one. Thanks ever so much for watching, guys. Take care. Catch up soon.